Have you ever forgotten a password and just guessed? Maybe it was your dog's name or your birthday or that one word you always use. You type it in, hit enter, and a little green check mark appears. Access granted. It's a small victory, a tiny moment of relief. But what if that relief turned into confusion and then into pure, cold dread? It started last Tuesday. I was trying to log into an old email account, one I hadn't used in years. I couldn't remember the password for the life of me. After a few failed attempts, I got frustrated. On a whim, I typed in a random, nonsensical word, silverfish. Don't ask me why. It just popped into my head. I hit enter, expecting the familiar red incorrect password message. Instead, my inbox loaded. I stared at the screen, a little surprised, but mostly just happy to be in. I shrugged it off, found the old photo I was looking for, and logged out. Later that day, I needed to check my bank balance. The app on my phone had logged me out. I sighed, ready for another round of password roulette. For a laugh, I typed silverfish again. The app opened instantly. My balance appeared on the screen. Okay, that was weird. Really weird. I definitely hadn't set my banking password to silverfish. It was supposed to be a complicated mess of letters, numbers, and symbols that I had to write down. A chill trickled down my spine. Coincidence? Maybe I was losing my mind, misremembering things. The next day, things escalated. I tried logging into my work computer. Silverfish. Access granted. My social media accounts? Silverfish. My streaming services? Silverfish. My credit card portal? Silverfish. Every single digital door I had, this one strange random word unlocked. The initial amusement was gone, replaced by a growing knot of anxiety in my stomach. This wasn't a coincidence. This was impossible. My life, my entire digital existence, was secured by a single silly word I'd plucked from thin air. I felt exposed, vulnerable. It was like realizing all the locks on your house were fake, just for show, and the doors had been swinging open all along. I spent the entire night changing every password I could think of. I used a password generator to create long, complex, unique strings of characters for each account. I saved them in a brand new encrypted file. I felt a little better, like I'd regained some control. I built new walls, stronger ones this time. The next morning, I went to log into my email with my new super secure password. Incorrect password. I tried again, carefully copying and pasting it. Incorrect password. My heart started hammering against my ribs. In a desperate, trembling haze, I typed silverfish. Access granted. It was the same for every other account. My new, complex passwords were all rejected. But silverfish still worked. It was like my attempts to secure my life had been erased, overwritten by this one, omnipresent key. It wasn't my password anymore. It was the password. The real horror began when I started discovering accounts I never created. It started with a notification on my phone for a new follower on a photo sharing app I'd never heard of. Curious and deeply unnerved, I downloaded it. When the login screen appeared, my fingers moved on their own, typing silverfish. I was in. The account had my name, my photo, but the pictures, they weren't mine. They were pictures of my apartment, taken from angles I couldn't explain. One showed me sleeping. Another was a close-up of the back of my head as I sat at my desk, the same desk I was sitting at right then. My blood ran cold. Who was taking these photos? How were they getting in? Then came the emails. Confirmations for purchases I never made. Flight bookings to cities I'd never planned to visit. Reservations at hotels under my name. All of them used my credit card, but the charges never appeared on my statement. It was a shadow life, running parallel to my own, using my identity but leaving no financial trace for me to follow. I called my bank, frantic. They assured me there was no unusual activity on my account. According to them, everything was normal. I felt like I was screaming into a void. I tried to explain the situation to the police, but they just looked at me with a mixture of pity and suspicion. How do you explain that a magic password is systematically dismantling your life? They suggested I was the victim of a simple hacking and told me to change my passwords. The irony was so bitter, it felt like poison. The feeling of being watched became constant. Every creak of the floorboards in my apartment, every flicker of a shadow in my peripheral vision sent a jolt of terror through me. I started talking to myself, trying to reason it out. Was this a person? A group? Or was it something else? Something non-human? A glitch in the very fabric of the digital world that had latched onto me? The worst part is the loss of self. I look in the mirror, and I don't know who I'm looking at. Am I the person who lives this quiet life, goes to work, and pays his bills? Or am I the person booking flights to Singapore, buying expensive jewelry, and posting eerie photos online? The lines have blurred until I can't tell where I end and this other entity begins. Last night, I found the final piece of the puzzle. I managed to get into the access logs for one of the strange new accounts. I was hoping to find an IP address, a location, anything to prove someone else was doing this. What I found was far worse. The logs showed every single login. All of them were from my devices, my IP address. There was a record of my first login, the day I created the account. But there was no record of the account's creation itself. It had no beginning. It was just there, waiting. That's when I finally understood. I didn't guess a password. The password was already there, waiting for someone to say it. I wasn't hacked. I was chosen. I am the keyhole, and Silverfish is the key that has unlocked me. This other me, this digital ghost, is becoming more real than I am. The emails I get now are for job interviews in other states, for apartment viewings. It's not just living a shadow life anymore. It's planning a new one, my life. And I'm just a spectator, trapped behind a screen, watching myself be erased. I'm recording this because I don't know what else to do. I'm afraid to sleep. I'm afraid to go online. Every time I touch a keyboard, I feel it, the pull of that one single word. I tried to delete everything, to go completely offline, but it's too late. The other day, I got a letter in the mail. It was a deed for a house in a town I've never heard of. My name was on it, neatly signed, but I never signed it. And at the bottom of the page, in faint, almost invisible print, was a single word, Silverfish. It's not just digital anymore. It's leaking into the real world. And I think it's coming to replace me for good. So if you ever forget a password and guess correctly on the first try, don't feel relieved. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Because you might not have guessed it. It might have been waiting for you all along. Thanks for listening.